Hello, DM Geezer Jim here, continuing along in the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide, RTFM. Read the frickin' manual. Well, in this case, I'm reading it to you, and I'm glad you're here for it. So yeah, as has been with the series, we'll read through the section first. I'll do my best to save commentary for the end. So we are getting near the end of Chapter 7, Treasure. We're on to the cool stuff, man, artifacts. So let's see what the book says, and then we'll talk about, gameplay and practical applications afterwards. So let's get to it. Artifacts. An artifact is a unique, singularly powerful magic item with its own origin and history. It could have been created in the midst of a crisis threatened a kingdom, a world, or the entire multiverse, and carries the weight of that pivotal moment in its history. Some artifacts appear when they're needed most. For others, the reverse is true. When these artifacts are discovered, the world trembles at the ramifications of the find. In either case, introducing an artifact into a campaign requires forethought. It could be an item that opposing sides are hoping to claim, or it might be something the adventurers need to overcome their greatest challenge. Characters don't typically find artifacts in the normal course of adventuring. In fact, artifacts only appear when you, the Dungeon Master, want them to, for they are as much plot devices as they are magic items. Tracking down and recovering an artifact is often the main goal of an adventure. Characters must chase down rumors, undergo significant trials, and venture into dangerous, half-forgotten places to find the artifact that they seek. Alternatively, a major villain might already have the artifact, and obtaining and destroying the artifact could be the only way to ensure that its power can't be used for evil. Artifact properties. In addition to its defined properties, an artifact might have other properties that are either beneficial or detrimental. You can choose such properties from the table in this section or determine them randomly. You can also invent new beneficial and detrimental properties. These properties typically change each time an artifact appears in the world. An artifact can have as many as 4 minor beneficial properties and 2 major beneficial properties. It can have as many as 4 minor detrimental properties and 2 major detrimental properties. So these are in addition to the abilities that are listed on the artifact, as is typical for our stuff. Let me just give you an example before we go too far. We're going to use my girl Igwilv. The Demonomicon, if I could spell Demonomicon. The Demonomicon of Igwilv. We're going to quick example of it, what's considered an artifact. Magic item 2024, I believe this is considered an artifact level item. So it's going to have all of these abilities that are listed in the stat block. Not going to read through all of them. And then every single artifact will also have random properties. In this case, we have 2 minor beneficial, 1 minor detrimental, and 1 major detrimental, in addition to everything else that this book can do. Okay? Just a quick artifact example. Not going to go any farther than that. So you understand, the tables we're about to get into are the ones that are going to deal with the random properties as listed. The artifact has the following random properties. See artifact in the Dungeon Master's Guide. So these, when we get to this point, is when we go to these tables. Okay. They are all D100 tables. There's not 100 entries. It is what it is. So on the left we have our die roll. On the right we have our property. Not too long, so let's read through it. Minor beneficial properties. If you roll a 1 through 20, while attuned to the artifact, you gain proficiency in 1 skill of the DM's choice. While attuned to the artifact, you can have immunity to the poison condition, or while attuned to the artifact, you're immune to charmed and frightened. 41 through 50 will give you resistance to 1 damage type of the DM's choice. 51 to 60 allows you to cast 1 cantrip chosen by the DM from the artifact. 61 to 70, while attuned to the artifact, you can cast 1 level 1 spell from it. After you cast a spell, roll a d6. On 1 to 5, you can't cast it this way until the next dawn. 71 to 80 will give you a 2nd level spell. 81 to 90 gives you a 3rd level spell. And 91 to 100, while attuned to the artifact, you gain a +1 bonus to armor class. These are very minor properties, but remember, as I said a second ago, apologies for the commentary break-in, the artifacts on their own are already very, very, very powerful. They can already do a bunch of crazy stuff to begin with. Now, the addition of the minor and major properties just give them a little bit of individuality, a little bit of flair. Again, you can choose these yourself, or you can roll for them off the table as the DM. So let's look at some of the major beneficial properties. Not a ton of stuff here. Some of y'all from back in the day, you remember there was the random tables. There were like 80, 90 entries on the old ones. So this is a good thing. Major beneficial properties. Likewise, it's a D100 roll, and the property is listed to the right. So on a 1 to 20, while you're attuned to the artifact, one of your ability scores increases by 2 to a maximum of 24. 21 to 30, while attuned to the artifact, you regain 1d6 hit points at the start of each of your turns if you have at least 1 hit point. That's helpful. When you hit with an attack roll while attuned to the artifact, the target takes an extra 1d6 force damage. 41 to 50, while you're attuned to the artifact, your speed increases by 10. 51 to 60, while attuned to the artifact, you can cast a level 4 spell. On a roll to 1 to 5, you can't cast it again until the next dawn. A roll to 6, you can keep on casting. 61 to 70 will give you a level 5 spell. 71 to 80 gives you a level 6 spell. 81 to 90 is a level 7 spell. And then 91 to 100, while attuned to this artifact, you have immunity to blinded, deafened, petrified, and stunned. So the major properties are pretty sizable, pretty big. So now let's look at the minor detrimentals, because most of your artifacts will have a negative that comes along with them as well. There's a few more here on the detrimentals. Most of them aren't game breaking. Most of them aren't the end of the world. Some of them will suck for certain players though. For example, 01 to 08, while attuned to the artifact, you have disadvantage on any ability check or saving throw that uses strength or constitution. You give this minor detrimental property on an artifact to a barbarian, all of a sudden half their kit is, not half, but a large part of their rage is now gone. They don't get advantage anymore. They'll have disadvantage. Likewise, attuned to the artifact, you have disadvantage on intelligence, wisdom, and charisma saving throws. While attuned to the artifact, you have vulnerability to poison. While attuned to the artifact, you're blinded when you're more than 10 feet away from the artifact, or deafened if you're more than 10 feet away from the artifact. While attuned to the artifact, you lose all sense of smell. These are minor detrimental properties. While you're attuned to the artifact, your appearance changes as the DM decides, like your belt of dwarven kind, for example. 67 to 72, you stonky. While attuned to the artifact, you emit a sour stench noticeable from up to 10 feet away. So much for your stealth checks, right? 73 to 76, whenever you touch a non-magical gem or an art object while attuned to this artifact, the value of the gem or art object is reduced by half. This affects a particular object only once. While you're attuned to the artifact, all holy water within 10 feet of you is destroyed. Non-magical flames are extinguished within 30 feet of you. Other creatures can't take short or long rests while within 300 feet of you. That can be a lot of fun. Go sleep in your tree 100 yards away so we can get a rest, man. While attuned to the artifact, you kill any non-magical vegetation you touch that isn't a creature. While you're attuned to the artifact, beasts within 30 feet of you that have a CR of 6 or lower are automatically hostile. Some of these are a little bit major than minor. And then likewise, we get into the major detrimental properties on this next table. You can't attune to other magic items while you're attuned to the artifact. When you become attuned to the artifact, your attunement to other items ends immediately. That's kind of stiff. When you become attuned to the artifact, a random one of your abilities is reduced by 2 to a minimum of 3. Greater Restoration can restore the ability. You take 8d10 psychic damage when you become attuned to the artifact. It gives you a quest been determined by the DM. You can't use any of the artifacts properties until you complete the quest. Each time you attune to an artifact, there's a 10% chance that you attract the attention of a god who sends an avatar to wrest the artifact away from you. Has the same alignment as a creator and uses the Empyrean stat block. Once it attains the artifact vanishes. The avatar vanishes with it. Some big stuff here. Each time you become attuned to the artifact, you must succeed on a DC 10 con saving throw or die from the shock. If you die, you've instantly transformed into a wight under the DM's control that must protect the artifact. So there's some serious stuff going on with these. And that's really kind of going to be the end of that section. We'll talk about sentient magic items next. So yeah, first and foremost, artifacts already exist in the game. They're really big. The Rod of Seven Parts, the Crook of Rao, the Axe of Dwarvish Lords, the Demonicon of Igwilv, the Cauldron of Baba Yaga, on and on and on. Most of your artifacts are something of something. They already belong to something or someone, or they're created by someone very famous. We're done reading, by the way. If you're hanging out for a read through, appreciate you being here. The last little bit's going to be a little bit more comments. Sorry. So I think the book does a really good job of telling us artifacts aren't just random magic items. When they appear in a campaign, it's because something big has happened or something big is about to happen, or your players need to find the artifact to undo some sort of major big bad thing. You should not be throwing artifacts at your group to where everyone in the party has an artifact. Okay, these aren't shared loot type of things. They're going to be very big quest MacGuffins, location MacGuffins, bad guy triggers, things like that. So use your artifact placement as plot devices. Okay. Let me reread that section. In fact, artifacts only appear when you want them to, for they are as much plot devices as they are magic items. Okay? So keep that in mind. The minor major beneficial properties, they're all built in. Every single artifact's going to have a list of how many minor and major, both beneficial and detrimental properties that. That's what these tables are for. You can choose off of them if they make sense with the magic item. For example, the Crook of Rao. I would definitely give them attuned to the artifact. You're immune to Charmed and Frightened while you're under the influence of the Crook of Rao. That makes sense with it. So you can either use the random nature of these tables, or you can just pick things that make sense. And you can also obviously pick them out and make some up yourself if these don't necessarily align with what you need. Consider these as guide points for the power curve as well. This goes without a little bit without saying, but when you start creating your own major and minor beneficial and detrimental properties, you are playing around with campaign and adventure balance a little bit. So please keep that in mind. If you're new to the game, if you're new to DMing, use the stuff that's on the table. It's good enough for now. As you gain more experience, as you get a feel for your parties, your adventures, and the scope and breadth of your campaign, you can start taking these and adjusting them to fit exactly what you need. But yeah, that's really kind of it. You know, most of what you need to know about an artifact is contained within the description of the artifact as found in the Dungeon Master's Guide, Player's Handbook, etc. But actually applying them to putting them into gameplay, very unique. It should be a game, a world-changing, a game-changing moment when artifacts come into play. So that's, if you get nothing else out of this video, they are few, they are far between. They typically belong to someone or belong to a particular plot or something like that. Don't give out Black Razor willy-nilly just because your players want an extra sword. Use it to drive your story. Use the presence of artifacts to move your plots forward. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. Almost done with Chapter 7, but we are done with this video. Likes, follows, subscribes are appreciated. Push that little like button. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. Jump on over to D&D, or excuse me, to Twitch. We're sitting there Tuesdays through Fridays chatting about all this stuff in live. We'd love to have you join us over there. But above all else, thank you for your time, and we'll see you for the next video.